Welcome to the newsletter. First video that corresponds with the newsletter. I'm going to do this every weekend now. Well, probably will do this every weekend now. I'm going to talk through a few of these short sections that are going to go in the newsletter, which you can get over at betterhumans.substack.com. Subscribe, share, do whatever you want. If you want to. If you don't want to, don't do anything. That's fine. Today, I got a few sections in here. It's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all the men out there that are leading their children and their communities to think for themselves, critically think, say no to big pharma, big nanny government, fiat, that are seeking sovereignty, that are resisting herd mentality and groupthink and fear and propaganda, and that are raising real badass mofos. That's what we need. That's what humanity needs. Not more crony politics or crony capitalism or crony nepotism. These powerful people that think they know more than us or they know what's best for us. And so they do things and they virtue signal, and it's all just a big freaking game of power, money, and control. So happy Father's Day to the men that are raising the revolutionaries that are going to bring humanity forward. And that are also raising Bitcoiners. So, I'll make sure my phone's off. Yep. Status quo bias. Got to maybe change title. And some of this will change as I proof these and edit this down into the newsletter. It's not actually written yet. This is my early writing routine. So I just started. So you do the same average thing every day, or the same average things every day. And that's why your life is exactly what it is. It's why your life exactly what it is. So you get the exact result of your average day, right? We all have a status quo, which is just an average that we fall into. Sometimes we get really motivated and we jump above that, and some days we're demotivated or we're just lagging in some way and we're below. But then we usually regress to our mean, our average. The thing is, if your average includes daily development or growth, that's the real key. If you want things in your life, if you want a better life, if you want success, if you want fame, money, power, I don't know, whatever you want that's in the future that you have to acquire yourself. I mean, it's the only way to get things. Everything else is just happenstance or chance. Things aren't just going to happen to you. You make them happen, okay? You have to build growth into your daily routine, because then you get the power of compounding and exponential results, all right? Now, what you really don't want to do is you don't want to regress every day, because then that compounds in the wrong direction. You know, people that are a little bit fatter every single year, a little bit sicker, a little bit more depressed, a little bit less actualized. That just gets worse every year. And then it compounds and it snowballs in the wrong direction. Now, the flip side is, if you're improving even 1% a day, a lot of people talk about this, they call it like the 1% effect or something. Well, 1% a day over like 1 to 5 years is exponential growth. If you improve 1% a day, if you do a little bit every single day, a reading routine, a meditation routine, a little fitness routine, you do something that's above your average right now. So right now, as you listen to this, you have an average. You have things you do every single day. You have an average amount of steps you take, average amount of exercise you do, average amount of books you read, average amount of times you're happy, unhappy, sad, whatever. If you can rise above that a little bit and create something that is a growth-focused routine over the course of a year, you could potentially change your life. I mean, most of us are like 6 months away from having a completely different life, because you change what you do today, and then you get better and better and better and better, and you grow and you grow and grow, and you shed these bad habits, and then before you know it, you're not the same person you were. Every single year of my life, I look back to like a year ago. Like I turned 36, and then I was 35, and every single year I feel like I don't recognize my previous self. That's a good thing. That's what I think we should all strive for, because it means we're growing. Now, hopefully it's not the reverse. Hopefully you don't recognize yourself because you're worse off than before. But I guess some people do that. That's a damn shame. So section number 2, I've been struggling with motivation lately because I don't know what my vision is. I'm in this place in my life. It's the next phase where I move to father, investor, advisor, maybe mentor, spending more time and having more space on things that aren't work or business. And it's definitely a transition for me. I don't know what's next. I don't know what my vision is. Now, when I was younger, I would have just started another company. I would have been like, oh, let's just do the next thing. I'm better now, and I have money, and I can do these things. And I'm actually not thinking that way at all. I'm actually in conserve mode. Before, I would invest every penny I had into whatever my next venture was. And I did that with Wild Foods. Every penny I had, and then some I didn't. Now, I don't want to invest anything. And if I do something, I'm actually going to raise money from other people. But that's just kind of the evolution of entrepreneur. You can do that as you get more experience and you understand these things, right? People are more willing to invest in you. So I'm just taking it slow. I'm letting things happen as they may. I'm pursuing interests. I'm still doing the podcast and doing the content because I enjoy that. And, it doesn't really make any money. Maybe it'll make some money in the future. I don't really care, though. I probably will make a point to try to make a little bit with it just to validate a little bit in my mind. But I do this mainly for my own benefit. And then if I can help others out there, then that's a bonus, right? So I'm struggling with this phase because I don't know what the vision is. Like, I don't know what I'm trying to accomplish. And when I was trying to accomplish something in my business and I had a singular goal and I had these fires I had to put out and it focused my attention, and it was very liberating and freeing to have that. But when you remove that, and this is this weird paradox of like, you do everything every entrepreneur wants to do, like, which is automate your business, have people in place, have systems, have your business run whether you show up or not. Okay. Now I'm still showing up in my business. I'm still running things, but it's to this point where I don't actually know what I should be investing in. So I'm actually taking a wait and see approach. We're spending less money on advertising. We're just kind of letting things happen. And then we hopefully will find opportunities through doing that. And what that has done is that's given me a lot of space. I've really simplified a lot of things. I've simplified projects. I cut off things. And I have this space and this time that I kind of don't know what to do with, right? And instead of trying to force something or just take on new projects and distract myself, I don't want to do that. I want to actually pursue the Taoist method of action through inaction. So by doing nothing, I'm actually doing something. That's what I'm trying to approach right now. Now, let me tell you though, as type A focused entrepreneur, that's like not the easiest thing to do, of course. So I'm working through that. And I've been reading books on simplicity lately. This dude that worked for Apple, Ken something, Siegel, I think, he wrote a book. I think it's called Simplicity. He's written a few of them about his time at Apple, working with Jobs, etc. And it's a really good reminder of being just so ruthless with simplicity. And in my younger years, I always thought kind of more is better. I take on more projects, do more things. And that obviously what it does is it spreads your attention out, your employees' attention, spreads your finances. And as a result, you can't go deep with any one thing. So I'm doing the reverse approach where I'm not actually pursuing almost anything. I'm sticking to the core things, our 80-20, that really move the needle, making sure the quality is there as high as possible, continually finding ways to improve that, and taking on nothing new unless it becomes glaringly obvious that that thing is something we should be investing in. So I'm also doing it for my personal life. I have 1,001 ideas. I have limited time. Though, paradoxically, I also have time, right? So I have this bucket of time that I'm very, very, very cognizant of and kind of protecting to make sure I don't just send that at things that aren't worth it, right? Because the reality is, if you really understand Pareto's principle, which is the 80-20 rule, which states that 20% of your results come from, 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. And in some businesses, and I mean, this applies to so many things, but in a business, you probably have 20% of your products that generate 80% of your revenue. You have 20% of your customers that generate about 80% of your revenue, right? And sometimes this is even like 95.5 or 99.1, where like 1% of your product line or your customers contribute 99% of your revenue. And so whenever we're doing something that's not focused on the 1% or the 5% or the 20% that generates most of the result, we're probably wasting our time. We might even actively be getting in the way of the 20% because we're shining our attention on something else, and then quality suffers on the core business or the core focus or the core thing that generates the results. 20% of the exercises you do or the amount of movement you do contributes to 80% of your results in your cardiovascular health, right? 20% of the food you eat are representing about 80% of your health, like 20% of those really, really good foods. And that might be a crude analogy because I'd have to think about that. But it applies to a lot of things. And when you really understand this concept, you're forced to do less things. You're forced to say no to most things. And that's a really good thing. I mean, that's where quality comes from. Quality comes from saying no to most things. And in our distraction-rich environment, where every single day more information is created than like the previous 100 years or whatever ridiculous statistic there is for the internet, those that win focus. Those that win say no. Those that win can just become obsessed with one thing, or as few things as possible. And when it comes to health, what you need is a short list. Sleep, nutrition, cooking at home, keeping stress low, having some community, getting outside, getting vitamin D. Like, that's it. Business, same thing. Most of the results that come to you, most of your new customers, most of your marketing efforts, most of them don't do anything or move the needle a small percent, right? And a very, very select few of those efforts bring you all the results for the most part. So I'm struggling with this because I don't know what the vision is. I am starting to invest in Airbnbs, and I'm potentially going to turn that into a business and raise some funds to do that. So that might be the next big thing I'm focused on. I was thinking about buying some cash flow businesses, like a pack and ship store and some things like that. But I think I'm putting that on the back burner right now because it's just too much labor physically. I'm thinking about buying some websites. It's hard to find good stuff. There's not like obvious markets for that, and there's a lot of junk out there. So that's something that I kind of have to think about if it's worth it. And I'm just taking it slow. So everything is choice. You get exactly what you let into your life and what you put in. So everything is choice. Happiness is choice. Success is choice. Relationships are choice. What you get is choice. What you give is choice. And how you respond to everything in your life is choice. There is nothing that is good or bad in your life. There is only choice of response. All right, this is Stoicism 101. It's a big secret hidden to most people. Most people believe that they are victims of their happenstance or their environment or their circumstance or of some person doing something to them. Things get acted upon them, and then they respond, and they feel bad for themselves, and they have a victim mindset. And then, ironically, they end up getting more of those things because what you think about and what you believe is what you get out of life. All right? So if you refuse to be a victim, if you refuse to project blame onto others and you accept full responsibility for your life and yourself, good things happen to you because you don't leave room in your life for bad things to happen. Every bad thing in your life is an opportunity for growth. That's just the reality. Every single thing is an opportunity for growth. If you're alive, you're winning, right? If you're alive, you're winning. So unless something kills you, as Nietzsche said, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. If you use those stressors to improve, to learn, to grow, and if you kill the victim narrative, you cannot feel bad for yourself. You cannot blame other people. The only person to blame is yourself. Were you at the wrong place at the right time? Should you have been in a different place? Should you have not associated with this person? Should you not have said yes to this deal anyways? Should have you spoken your mind a month ago when this thing felt weird or whatever? Everything is traced back to our own doing. It is all our fault, for better or worse. Two sides of this coin. It's like you blame people that are successful, that earned and worked and toiled to have what they have, and you somehow believe that they don't deserve their success, which is a ridiculous idea. And then on the other end, you feel like the world is unfair and out to get you or whatever, and that's why you don't have the success that you think you deserve. Both of these are victim mindsets. Both of these are going to keep, and I say you, I mean the proverbial you, not necessarily you listening. These are the type of things that keep people stuck their entire lives. For as long as you outsource agency to someone or something else, as long as you give someone else the power over your life, how could you fathom that your life is going to be any different? It's not. And this is why so many people have epiphanies, because they float through life giving their agency to others, surround themselves with the wrong people that pull them down, and they just say, well, that's my luck. I'm just this. I'm just that. They create all these really bad labels to justify their poor experience and their lack of results. And then maybe one day a near-death experience or some big final aha moment wakes them up, or a bad breakup that was codependent that they finally saw the light. They're like, oh, wow, it's actually up to me. And then they change their life. And I want more people to do just that. So everything in your life is your choice, your decision, your responsibility, your fault. The harsh truth of life. And then I got an update on the new podcasts. Yeah, podcasts with an S. So the harsh truth of life is it's short and then you die. And you're going to have regrets. You're going to disappoint people and yourself along the way. You're going to miss out on amazing experiences. You're probably not going to do everything you want to do. And it all matters or doesn't if you say it does. It's all choice. You decide whether you'll be happy and content with what you have now, or you will choose self-inflicted suffering that comes from focusing on what you don't have. It's all choice. You'll decide to be in the moment and direct your attention, and you'll live in the future, or you'll live in the future that doesn't exist. So you decide to be in the moment and direct your attention and enjoy that. It's really the only thing we have is our attention. That's all we have. Like, a moment of enjoyment is because you're focused on that moment. You cannot enjoy the moment if you're living in the past or the future, as Buddha said. Like, that's suffering. It's all choice. It's all decision. And every moment of your life right now is a chance to basically be winning, be living abundantly, to have pure bliss, to have pure happiness by just being in the moment. I'm not saying it's hard or easy. It is hard. It's very hard. I'm not saying I'm good at this. This is actually something I'm working on in this next phase of my life. I don't want to be next thing. I don't want to always have to feel like I have to be working. I want to enjoy the moment. I want to get out of that idea of novelty where I always have to be doing something new and novel. Like, I want to just enjoy conversations, being with people, being in the moment, being with family, doing mundane things. Like, I want to get enjoyment out of that. And a lot of my brain has been neurologically hardwired to focus on growth and getting things and new things, that it's hard for me to rewire that. But I'm working on rewiring that right now. So I got some updates, and then I'm going to let you go. I've decided to do more podcasts. It's really one podcast, and then it's a series of podcasts. Think of these as like long blog posts or guides. I want some of these other shows, like The Better Man, The Better Finance, Better Relationships, Better Life, Better Success. Some of these are just ideas. The finance one, I've already started recording, so that's coming out. The Better Man, I'm already 20 shows in, and it just went live, actually. And The Better Human is a main show. What I'm going to do with these is I'm going to treat them as subcategories of topics that I want to explore, and I will probably post them to the main feed, so the main Better Human podcast, and I will put the name of the show at front, and then the title, right? And the Better Human main show will have its standard shows it has, and a lot of soul shows, some guest shows, and then every so often it'll be like a Better Man show that's geared towards men, and then you have the Better Finance show, etc. And then they will also have their own feed. So if you want to just get all of those, like if you want the masterclass in finance from my perspective and my ideas on it, then you can go to that podcast and you can, dig through the archives, listen to every show, whatever. And with all the shows that aren't the main show, they're going to be based on recording things only when I have something to say, and they're not going to be something that publishes for the sake of publishing. I don't want to do a finance podcast and feel like I have to post something every week or have guests on or whatever. I want to just talk about the really big ideas and keep building that as an archive that I can send people like, oh, you want finance? Go there, listen to every show. That's got all the foundational stuff. And then every so often I might have a guest on, or I might bring somebody on if they can add a lot of value. That's my vision for the Better Human Podcast Network. Feels so official when you say it that way, doesn't it? And if you want to reach me, you can find me on the web. I'm actually probably getting rid of my email, so just send me DMs on social media. You can find those places. I don't check them as much as I used to, but I do still check them. I still do check the DMs. The most important place to get all this, though, to make sure you're in the loop, is over here, the Better Human newsletter, right? And that's over betterhumans.substack.com, or you can just go to colin.coach with 1L. And each one of these will have its own email list eventually and its own kind of automation flow. So if you want to get those delivered on an email basis weekly, I will have that set up. But for now, the hub is going to be a weekly newsletter, which is Sunday. This is going out. This video is going out with this newsletter. And then you'll have links and sections to each show. And I'll have a few notes on it and a link, and you can just pick what you want. And then again, if you subscribe to the Better Human Show on iTunes, Spotify, or Google, you'll get all of them. I mean, I think so. I haven't really decided if this is like a good strategy or not. I'm going to have to figure that out talking to my podcast guy. I think it is. I think it's fine. And then if you subscribe to that, you'll get all the shows. They'll just be in kind of a haphazard order. So pick and choose what you like. I appreciate you watching this. I hope you do something outside of your status quo, outside of your normal, to improve, to build growth into your daily routine, because then you will change your life for the better. You'll accomplish everything you want to accomplish. And yeah, I guess I'll see you in the next one.